So just bear with me for a minute here while I get this sorted. So just bear with me for a minute here while I get this sorted. So just bear with me for a minute here while I get this sorted. So just all right, everyone. So we are joined by Tori Says right now. It's good to have you on, Tori. I think we finally got that sorted out. Tori doesn't have any video, so
For real.
she's just going to be in audio right now. So Tori, I mean, what did you see? You're a poll watcher. What did you see in Cleveland?
Okay, so yesterday it was quite bad. For the first thing that happened when I arrived was they asked me if I was a Democrat or Republican poll watcher, and it kind of was like I dressed as liberal as I could. I just went all in black, so I kind of sunrise movement inspired, right?
Yeah.
And there was a Karen lady standing there, and she asked, "Oh, so who are you with, Democrat, Republican?" Because they have one or the other, and I pretty much just said, "Oh, I'm Team America. I'm a volunteer." She goes, "Oh, you're not getting paid?" I was like, "No." So, you know me. I like coffee and I like donuts. So one way to warm them up and see what they were doing and whatnot was like, hey, I'm gonna DoorDash some coffee. Maybe I'll grab us some donuts. You know my thing with donuts, right?
Yeah.
That's where they started talking. So each of them got paid like $400 to $600 to poll watch. They were paid insane amount of money to do everything. All of them were anti-President Trump, except for one lady who was a school teacher that was appointed to by the Board of Elections because they need a registered Democrat and Republican. Registered. That doesn't mean they are. It means registered, right? But she was conservative. But anyway, so that was the first one. The other one is, and I think I can share screen with you, Millie, here, but I want to show your listeners and watchers something pretty interesting. So I had recorded on video, right, on video, Eric Trump made reference to it when he had his announcement earlier today from Philly. They were in the election area where people are coming to vote with a Biden mask. That is illegal. They had propaganda. They had materials. Can you see the screen, Millie?
No, I
Can you
can't.
see it? Showing? It's not showing?
Mm-mm. It is not.
It's not showing. Oh, man. Yeah, it is not showing for you. Oh, there it is. That's how it shows, I guess.
No, I can pull up some B-roll for you.
Here, let me DM you the link quickly because people need to see it. This is a guy in a polling station, okay?
Okay.
And he's wearing a Biden-Harris face mask.
Interesting.
And that's the one that he was...
And they're supposed to not be wearing anything presenting any political candidate at all. They're supposed
Correct.
to appear to be neutral and that they're just working the poll location. And then it's
Right.
the poll watchers who can have affiliations. And that's when typically you have like your Republican poll watchers and your Democrat poll watchers. And you, Tori, were a Republican poll watcher up in Cleveland, correct?
Yes, in Cuyahoga County.
Okay.
And the thing is, these people were trying to figure out who I was working with, who was paying me. Obviously, I didn't tell them, but here's the DM. I'm just sending it to you now of the guy in the mask. And then I'll also send you those Sunrise Movement people that are canvassing for votes. They're actually giving people votes to fill out ballots, and they're doing it right now nationwide. And I caught the team. They were on the grounds taking names and intimidating people. And I'll send you that too. If you've got the video, go ahead and show it to everyone. That was incredible.
Okay, wow. So you can actually see, yeah, he's wearing a Biden face mask. Now, did you report that activity? Because you are a poll watcher, so...
Yes, I was in contact with a lot of people on the Trump campaign, the EDOs down in Virginia, locally, and that's the reference that Eric Trump made today, where they were wearing masks saying Biden-Harris. And the funny thing is I saw him and I was like, dude, that's illegal. And I started videos with him and he turned away. But then all this liberal media swamped in to like take pictures of this guy because I was like, that's illegal, you know? And not only that, while I was at the polls, our machine supposedly broke and they wanted to park all the ballots unscanned into a bag and scan them later. And so a guy comes in from the Board of Elections and he comes in wearing a Joe Harris sticker, right? Joe Biden Harris sticker on his chest, a BLM mask, and he's working for the Board of Elections. So when he walks in, he starts talking to the lady that was in charge of the elections. And I looked at him and I was like, you're not supposed to be wearing that. And while middle conversation, he runs out and I follow him to see how he's leaving, where he's going, and he jumped on a bicycle and pedaled off.
Oh my gosh, that's bizarre.
I called and reported that too. It was dodgy. They were taking votes they weren't supposed to take.
So Tori, what do you think about these election results? Because, I mean, this just doesn't make any sense. Why haven't they called it for Trump in North Carolina? I mean, they have all the counties, like you zoom in and it shows like 100% of the counties reporting. And then it'll say for the whole state, 94% reporting. And they should be calling this for Trump. Why are they withholding these electoral votes for Trump?
Why? Is that really a question? You and I know why.
Well, how can they get away with it? That's really what I mean, is how can they get away with it?
Well, they're not going to get away with it, and we know that. And I wanted us to be able to show, and this is something that Patrick Berge just sent me, and I'm going to DM you the link to this while I tell everyone what they're going to be watching. I want you to go to the 40, what did he say? I think he said 42nd minute, where Sidney Powell was on Steve Bannon's show, and she was talking about the hammer, the computer analytics programming software, right? And so, 42 minutes and 25 into it, she begins with it. So you can start at 42. But basically what happens in this, Millie, is she talks about the hammer, and she mentions that the military-industrial complex got a hold of it. Now, do you know who that military-industrial complex, who is in charge of that crazy software that can fix election, is? It's every single person we exposed in Shadowgate.
Wow.
Yeah, and these people hate the president.
So how many minutes in was it? 40?
He said 42:25, so I guess 42, where we can see Sidney Powell talking, and that way we can explain to people exactly what's being said.
Okay, I'm not seeing 42:25 as being it. I guess if it's
not 42:25.
Maybe 142.
Maybe.
Okay.
He said start at 42. Is it the right one that he sent me? Episode 470?
No.
Okay, let me get you that.
Looks like they have some interesting election night coverage though with Steve Bannon.
Yeah, and it was pretty sweet actually. I mean, he's been doing a great job in covering this corruption, and from a perspective of outside the whole software thing, because what people need to understand is this: when we were covering the election meddling and the software that they were using, they were planning to use that. That's why when you were down there, I told you that you were put in a hot box by the wrong people. Remember that?
Yeah.
They had you guys in a room and they were asking you questions.
And that was in Kentucky. That was when we went down to Kentucky and we were addressing the leak that we had received for evidence showing election voting fraud in Kentucky. And so we went down there and we actually met with the governor. We met with people that affiliate and that surround the governor, and we were showing them what we had, telling them about what we had. It seemed that they already had some of what we had, and I couldn't believe that Bevin just stepped down. It was really bizarre to see him step down knowing what he knew, but I guess they just figured the courts weren't going to help their cause. And so that's something that I hope President Trump does not do. I think President Trump is really going to push this. He is someone that's not going to cower. He's not going to concede. He said he's already going to take it to the Supreme Court. So that's what we are going to look at. We're going to look at recounting, auditing, challenging things in the Supreme Court. How do you anticipate that going, Tori?
The challenging, well, it's all part of the plan. I think we both started it in November of 2019, where we actually had that information and we were parsing it through, we were telling them about the trapdoors and how they have this blind spot where they can shuffle votes. And this makes sense as to how close this election is, because let's be frank, there's no way that more than half, right, of the eligible voting population in the United States is able to actually vote for Joe Biden, wants to, or thinks it's even a remotely good idea to vote for Joe Biden. So that's number one. So election meddling is done with computers these days. And I think when we did that whole report on it, and how we were talking about the smart cities and how they're, throughout this whole year, all these clues have been exposing the people that have a hold of it, the people that are promoting it, and the people controlling it, and the people controlling your elections. From day one, we've been saying it's a military-industrial complex. These presidents that have been in office prior to President Trump, never the choice of the people, always the choice of those generals. Never the choice of anyone except those generals. That's it. Is that not the video that he sent me?
Yeah, now, one of the things, Tori, though, I wanted to ask you about is, did you hear about this with the suitcases and the coolers that were rolled into the Detroit voting center at 4 a.m.?
Yeah, well, did you hear about the leak that happened in Georgia in the room that had all the ballots? And I was saying this morning to my audience, I guarantee you, the public were bringing in all these containers, these things, and
we've been talking for decades.
And they would be having like swap ballots. But let me tell you something, Millie. Let me just say something different here. What if, right, with all the reporting that you've been doing, which we've been, putting out, the elections, introducing the military-industrial complex, introducing all these big players, exposing them on Shadowgate, you've been digging into Sunrise a lot, right? So what if all of that came together and we decided, okay, well, the ballots are going to be made with a special paper, but not many people would know it's a special paper. Kind of like, let's pretend maybe the real ballots that were issued have a special thread that maybe with a special pen can be determined, and the fake ones don't. What if something like that actually happens? Then what?
Well, that would be pretty curious. I mean, how would you be able to prove it?
Get your on the ballots that they're scanning. So like money, right? Like cash.
Sure.
What if President Trump, thinking ahead, made sure that there was some something with the paper, and that's why they want to watch them. They want to let them, scan the ballots and do their little thing. But then when they want to do the recount, they pull it and they're like, well, those are fake papers.
Wow.
So those are fake papers.
I mean, that would be amazing. That would be like the most incredible sting operation. So you could actually trace where all of these went, so you would understand the network.
Yeah, so you would understand the ballots that people actually dropped that day, if they're real or not. You would see if they were real mail-in ballots mailed out to people with barcodes. You would be able to see if they're legitimate absentee ballots, because it's not like he's going to tell people that there's a composition of paper. I've introduced this to my audience, and we've talked about it before, where there's nanomaterials that can merge with biological agents and non-biological agents that have specific identifying properties. And if they have, recreated those ballots and missed kind of like, how we put on our videos our little logos, like watermarking?
Sure, watermarks.
What if there's just one thread so it's undetected? Under the ink, and then they decided to make copies of these ballots and nobody knew, because he was working with, you remember how we were talking about ventilators?
So if they were to copy these ballots that had some little hidden watermark, they wouldn't be able to copy that little watermark. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's kind of like money. We can print dollar bills, right? We can use the same linen, right? And everything. but there's like a certain special thread that's used in that linen or in that wood used for that paper, or a, I don't know, specific dye that a photography company would be amazing at creating, that would be able to, I don't know, with a stroke of a pen or put under a certain light, say fraud or no fraud. Maybe it would be just something simple like a thumbs up.
Wow. Well, let's listen to the audio in this video, because this is amazing. He's got a red wagon. What do you need a red wagon for going into a vote polling center? Let's see this.
Looks like one of those lock boxes. I wish I could tell. Where does this guy come from so late at night? Hmm?
And that's true. That's true. People need to break out those phones and take pictures. Like how I caught those Antifa. Wow.
And yet we have a box.
Totally walks like a dildo waver. I know, but he is. He totally looks like sunrise clowns. Well, so the thing is I believe that what people need to understand is, even if someone tells you that there's voter fraud, they were planning this. I think that like the whole world was in on this. Okay, the whole world was literally in on this globally. So even if someone told you there's fraud, be like, oh, I don't know how I could believe it. I'm not sure, right? But when you see it and you can't unsee it, that's totally different. And Millie,
on my Twitter feed, there was I'm DMing it to you right now. There was an amazing graphic showing this insane amount of registered voters and the projected votes they have, and how the turnout's like 125%, 109%. Because if you think 72% is a lot, wait till you see those numbers. So that should be a question.
Well, yeah, I mean, here, someone's reporting here that it says 89.25% turnout for Wisconsin. I mean, that's like unheard of. It never is that high.
Yeah, that's Harlan. Check the DM. It has other states too. Like, I think it was Nevada that was like 125%.
Mm-hmm.
What?
125%. Wow.
Yeah,
Of the registered voters, or for like what they were anticipating?
Compared to registered and those that they're counting right now, like the actual ballots. I've DM'd you that.
Okay, I'm looking at right now.
It's crazy. I was like, what is this?
So what are we looking at here? Kind of explain it for us.
So it's just a spreadsheet from Real Clear Politics where they put it together. So Nevada has 1.2 million registered voters, and the projected votes they have right now as they're counting is almost 6 million. So that's an 125% turnout. Pennsylvania has 6,469,000 voters that are registered. But so far they've been counting votes and they've got 7 million. That's 109%. Minnesota, 3 million registered. They've almost got 3.2 million. North Carolina, 5.1 5,160,000 registered, and they've got 5,453,000 projected votes. So they're counting votes, and those are the numbers they're getting. Like, this is insane. Look at that. 125% for Nevada turnout, Pennsylvania 109, Minnesota 107, North Carolina 106, Wisconsin 105, Michigan 105, Arizona 101, Georgia 96. And it just so happens to be all the states that are being contested.
Wow.
Right?
That's unbelievable. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
And so they think that they're going to get away with this. But I saw you tweet earlier that you basically kind of said we had to let you see it, or they had to let you see it. Something to that degree.
Right.
If you're saying, I mean, are you just guessing that this is all some big plan, or do you have like firsthand knowledge of that?
Okay, so you know what? You're using this to your advantage. I can see your face right now, and you know that I don't want, okay, I want to say, oh, Millie, you're so not fair. You're putting me totally on the spot right now. I totally.
Well, I want to know what that is because it's interesting.
Okay, yeah.
You kind of said earlier that you gave us a little bit of an idea with this watermark theory you've got, but you know, what is going on here? What are we seeing? Everyone's like wanting to know what in the world is going on. It looks like the election's being stolen. People are scared. They don't want Crazy Joe, Sleepy Joe, to get into office and these radical leftists that want to destroy America. I mean, my goodness, sorry, they're out there burning flags. They hate America. They hate the country. What happens if they get in power? You know what they're going to do. They're going to ban guns.
This election isn't even close. Like, even in the states that President Trump won by a small margin, it wasn't a small margin. These people voted twice. They used software in order to, give him, fractional votes. This was all a setup. And the thing is, President Trump knew. He knew from 2019, he knew from 2018, he actually knew. So all we did was watch and watch and watch. Do you really think that Arizona went blue? Come on. I'm pretty sure New Mexico was more red. And what's funny is, look at Illinois. Go to Illinois, Millie. Look at Illinois. And tell me what you see there.
It says 88% reporting, 55.1% to 43% for Donald Trump.
Right. So basically, President Trump lost by, 400,000 votes in Illinois. That means he won Illinois. You get what I'm saying? That's Obama land. That's a very small margin.
Right. So maybe what it was they focused all their efforts in these key swing states, and they didn't focus their efforts in areas that they knew were going to go blue. So then when you actually see these blue areas and how big of a margin Trump actually had, and that he was actually pretty close of tipping some of these blue states, then you can actually get a full idea of what the real count might have been outside of all the fixing.
I think that all of the states would have been red if they didn't cheat. Except for maybe Oregon, because it's set up to cheat regardless. I mean, they've been.
I don't think California was. There's no way California was going to go red.
Well,
no way.
Of Northern California was red.
At one point it was, but I mean, now it's just so. I mean, there are 3,980,000 people in California that did vote for Donald Trump, but unfortunately, there were also 7,903,000 that voted for Biden. So even though there is a big turnout for Trump there, Joe Biden also had a big turnout because California always tends to vote blue. I mean, I don't see, just like New York. Otherwise, if we didn't have the Electoral College, California and New York would decide the election outcome every election season.
So in total, what you're saying is that there were 10 million votes cast in California, right? Is that how much the number was? Is it 7 million and 3 million?
No, it's more than that because it's just under 12. because
So it's just under 12. You know how much the population is in California? It's a hair under 40 million. A hair under 40 million.
So let's see if it'll actually pull up the percentage of people that participated in the election. Because what if it's like California, the percentage of people that voted, like voter turnout in California, what if that's like super low? Voter turn, let's see. That would be kind of odd.
Yeah, because there's just under 40 million people in California. I mean, last year it was like, what, 39.5 million? So I'm just assuming 500,000 growth.
I was hearing that millions and millions of ballots are being thrown out in California.
That's what I'm getting at.
And that was that they were saying, I think that the ballots were not filled out properly.
Look what they're saying. More than 10.5 million Californians have already cast their ballots, about 72% of the total turnout in 2016.
So wait, it says 22 million Californians were registered to vote?
Right?
So if 22 million Californians were registered to vote, that's not a very good voter turnout.
Right?
Interesting.
You see, the math doesn't add up. They're just not doing math well, and they're banking on the fact that people don't do the math. And it doesn't make sense how that there's a gap like that. I could tell you that you do know for sure that if there's 40 million people, at least if there's 22 million that are eligible to vote, right? I would say, on a conservative side, 40% of that is conservative, and every single conservative person went out there, right? So that would mean that we'd have closer to 10 million conservatives, right, voting, but they only 4 million voted. That doesn't sound right. The math doesn't add up. The math does not add up at all. And so if you look, you'll see how much the population is, and it's it's pretty staggering. I'm telling you, it's just under 40 million.
That's pretty bizarre.
It is. And they bank on the math because they just think people are stupid. Look at the voter turnout that they're telling you, 77%, right? So where is it that they didn't turn up?
Yeah, I mean, it does only say 66% reporting now. So we probably will see more votes pouring in California. But, I mean, given how many, it said, 22 registered to vote. So there should be more people in there. But,
then that means that right now, if only 10 million have voted, 12 million, and that's 66%, that's on par for 22 million. That means that we have 10 million votes to go. What if California actually flipped if it was done legit? I'm just saying. This is all, there, but there's a lot of...
So what's going to be the next step? What's the next step going from here? This is contested. We're waiting for Nevada to pour their votes in. They're still 75% reporting. North Carolina's still stuck at 94%. Some of these states have just stopped reporting votes.
And they have people outside handing ballots to people.
How can they? I mean, it's crazy that they can get away with this, but elections are supposed to be on November the 3rd. Well, at least on our case, November 3rd was election day. It's not election week. So some of these states saying, we're going to be counting votes, we won't put our votes in until Thursday. That is not how it works. So why aren't more people pushing back against that? And by people, I mean people in the government, like lawyers. I guess lawyers will probably be filing things. But, I mean, do you know what the exact process is going forward for Trump? Like, is he going to take this to Supreme Court right away, or is he going to request a vote count?
Right. So I think he's already tapped the Supreme Court. So when I was saying it was part of their plan was, damn, stupid Millie and Tory freaking brought so much attention to that damn election thing, right? That now they're on to us about Hart, Intercivic, and Seidel, right? So we have to give that responsibility to the states to pick who they work with, right? Those states that are more independent, I don't know, like Commonwealths or places like Michigan that have strong state constitutional laws, right? So, gosh darn those stupid girls for talking about it. Now they've got that. Then Shadowgate came out, right? Shadowgate came out exposing the people that are actually controlling all of this computing that goes on Foresital on the U.S. side. They're the ones dictating it. And it's called the Hammer, right? And so that happened. So their bet when coronavirus so conveniently occurred because they failed impeachment, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got the argument of we must mail in our ballots because we're all going to die, right? Yet people weren't even wearing their masks and they were taking they even had finger condoms so you can sign screens, Millie. They had finger condoms.
That's ridiculous.
No, they did.
Because of
And they were
COVID.
like, on another color too. It was just so bad. They had like a bunch of, I was
Oh,
like,
no.
what is that on the table? But anyway, so they did all that. So that way they can steal the elections with these, mail-in ballots. Assuming that we wouldn't know that they would do that. And the president said it from day one, right? So we had an insurance plan for that. So what was the insurance plan? Pull the plug on RBG, right? And get ourselves a Supreme Court justice so we can have a balance. See, they pulled the plug on RBG to have a 4-4 hung Supreme Court, but it didn't work out that way. We got Justice Barrett confirmed. So now they're messing with a Commonwealth, and Commonwealths are very, very intricate. So President Trump has requested the Supreme Court intervene in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So it was very important that we get the 9th Supreme Court justice, or else it would have been 4-4 and hung. But remember, Pelosi told us that she was going to get rid of President Trump. Remember, she also said, even if he doesn't want to leave that White House, we're going to inaugurate Joe Biden somewhere else. She said that with her own mouth.
Wow.
With her own mouth. So she was telling us, so there's no surprises here of what they're doing. They stole the elections how they could. They did all this, and they got away with it in some places because they wanted it to look close. They wanted to say he got the popular vote, and you're a dictator, and you're taking us to the Supreme Court, because they knew he'd go to the Supreme Court.
So Tori,
So
you
they were
know,
like,
can you see the screen right now of what we're looking at?
I'm watching you.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
what
okay,
what we're
yeah.
looking at right here is a voting systems map of Michigan, and if you look at the light blue boxes, that is a designated area that uses Hart Intercivic for their voting.
And tell me that those are the hardcore Democrat
Like the
areas, right?
hardcore blue areas. Let's pull up the election results.
Let's see.
Let's see how close we can get in here. Well, a little too close. Show all states. Let's see. All right, so let's kind of compare these two maps here just to see what we're looking at. I guess that's probably the best.
Yeah, let's see. All right, that's good.
Very interesting. Let me pull this over here. Let's kind of see these.
Kind of looks like they are.
Okay.
Oh, what's up? That's what's up.
Wow.
That's what's up.
Definitely in this area here, you see that Hart Intercivic.
You know, right here.
But I mean, some of those are more Democrat leaning areas. However, I mean,
right
notice
here.
these are the key areas where a lot of votes probably came in. Interesting. I mean, it's just interesting to see that Hart Intercivic which has been known to engage in electronic voting fraud with their electronic systems,
Look
is
at the
in
tip,
Michigan.
too, the top tip, right here, Emmett. Is it? No. Oh, it was down here where it's blue. This is really interesting.
Let's see what else. So this is a contract, it seems, for Hart Intercivic.
So that's Tag Romney's company.
Yes.
Yep, there it is. That's Tag Romney's. Down in Texas.
So they have the contract.
Mm.
Electronic voting systems.
It's funny how you could be in office and own electronic voting machines. Not you, but your kid.
So let's kind of go over the role that Hart Intercivic played in stealing the election in Kentucky and some of the more shady things surrounding them.
Yeah, so in Kentucky, what we saw is that the people that actually had the Hart Intercivic, like they were servicing all the Hart Intercivic election ballot machines, like the e-ballot machines. They were also servicing the county's computers too. So they were on both ends. They were taking care of the software for the ballot machines and the software of the communication of the counties that were receiving the information from the ballot machines.
Okay.
So that was incredible. Remember when we saw that big jump, that comparison back in 2019 in Kentucky? It's the same thing. And what's interesting, go back to that. What's interesting is that AP was updating their information on election results, and it says here that they get it from Seidel Direct, a foreign company, a foreign-owned company. AP reports the elections. The results from the elections are coming from a foreign-owned company and put out by AP. That's crazy in itself. I mean, that is really crazy. Now, I foresee that a lot of there's going to be a lot of contesting to these elections in a lot of states. A lot of races because they were fixed so bad with these ballots. Not only that, you remember, I mean, it's not who you cast the ballot for, it's who counts the ballot that you cast. That's important. And that's what's pretty insane, because if you think about it, most people that are sitting in these positions actually our government employees, which we've kind of seen lately, are very, very, very anti-American. Very anti-American, which is very sad.
Okay, this contract shows Seidel as a subcontractor for Hart Intercivic in it.
So again, we've got Seidel with Hart Intercivic. I mean, can that be any more blatant?
No. It seems like the two definitely work together. They definitely work hand in hand.
So we have foreign influence in our nation's elections because it's done so overseas. That's crazy.
But see, the mainstream media is not going to touch that. So they'll just run bogus stories about Russia collusion. And they would do that if Trump wins regardless. I mean, we don't know what the election outcome is as of yet, but you better believe if Trump wins, they're going to say that again.
Hey, Millie, a lot of people are asking about Seidel. Do you have that video where you explain Seidel so they can see where it's located? I think we did it in our chat more than anything, but I think you also did a video, will they steal the 2020 elections? Because we were talking about that in 2019.
Yeah, we were. And I was showing a little bit of that earlier, actually, to people. And I don't know if we ever got to some of the good parts about Seidel. So let's see. Will they steal? Okay.
Yeah, I showed it to my listeners. I think it was on Monday, or was it Saturday? because it was really well done. We had like a long session too, where we were going back and forth of the information that we found, where there were more nuggets in there, like the money that was exchanged, and how they were getting foreign.
Yeah, because there were some documents that we had put in there that we should be able to look at and reference when talking about this.
If Governor Bevin won every precinct in Bell County but one, then he carried the county by roughly 61% of the vote. Yet, Governor Bevin lost amongst the
has an exclusive contract.
Oh, this is key. This is key about the conflict of interest.
The electronic voting machines in Kentucky, HARP Enterprises and Hart Intercivic conveniently can prove that their system gives a perfect recount and that the encryption works.
The Texas Secretary of State has received several reports of people having problems when voting straight ticket. It's specifically related to the Hart E-Slate machines. The Secretary of State's office saying people reported the machine changed one or more of their selections to a candidate from a different party.
However, they cannot prove that their system gives an honest recount, that neither they nor anyone else has access to potentially hidden functions, whereby votes could be manipulated or swapped in and out with scripts completely undetected. Not to mention, the owner of both HARP Enterprises and Hart Intercivic has an exclusive contract to furnish systems, custom software, computer equipment, consulting, etc. with the entire Commonwealth of Kentucky. Did I mention they print the ballots too? Gee, I wonder why they can guarantee that the recounts will be the same as the first count.
One of the problems that we have is, okay, how can we ensure that the encryption process is really providing the contents of these votes? And it's not, for instance, changing the votes and providing a different results just to manipulate the election.
So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I should like to present
for you all a world-famous rabbit from a hat. Thank you.
The first step is shuffling and re-encrypting the vote.
This has nothing to do with the trick. This is just union rules for magicians.
But what could happen here? This process can cheat. For instance, the election officials. Instead of providing a re-encrypted vote, they can change and put another vote.
There's nothing here, nothing here, nothing here, nothing here.
Again, here we have another point in which the election can be manipulated.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm really sorry. You see, that's not supposed to be there at all. That's supposed to be on a hook, right around the back of the table, you see, like that.
So proof can be generated here, and at the end, auditors and observers can use this proof for check that.
You do not laugh, you do not applaud, until the magician produces a rabbit from a hat, like that. Hello.
Then at the end is when we can provide the transparency.
SkyToll's lead scientists explaining their scheme at a tech conference in Barcelona. And they claim that their scheme is unbreakable because the voter is going to get a receipt, an electronic receipt that proves to them what they voted for. However, this is all completely undermined. Their verification structure is completely undermined when you don't need a zero-knowledge proof if you're already monitoring the phone and therefore have all the knowledge. And so Carrier IQ and SkyToll working together is absolutely capable of undermining all the votes and doing it very selectively, so they only change a few votes.
Wow, that's a lot of unchecked power for a small group of people to have. But wait, there's more. But it's not just Seidel. Other companies like ES&S, Dominion, and Smartmatic all connect to database systems like the Global Electronic Management System, while you wrestle with the reality that international interests count, manage, organize, control, and operate most of our elections in the United States. realize that this election software is more than just a tool to possibly manipulate the outcome of elections.
Sitel provides secure, transparent, auditable, and accessible solutions for election modernization, e-governance, and e-democracy. Our e-democracy solutions help cities, counties, and countries improve their citizen engagement.
Amazon is a global partner with Sitel, and Sitel uses Amazon Web Services to host their cloud systems. Google and Sitel have partnered to provide live-time Google Analytics of election results, as well as creating an online voting interface.
Results are displayed for the public and media using Sitel's election night reporting. The product is designed to address the needs of all users, with specific attention spent on users with accessibility needs. This product also was developed with a responsive design so that it can be easily viewed from any device or screen size.
Do we really want to trust Google's hands in our elections when most of Google is run by a bunch of deranged SJWs?
We have some leaked video, and it comes from Google. The Google bosses, they were pretty hysterical after the election of Donald Trump in 2016.
I certainly find this election deeply offensive, and I know many of you do too.
Is there anything positive you see from this election result?
Boy, that's a really tough one right now.
I mean, why bother lobbying when you can just go around it and rig the elections to your favor and only let the politicians win that have your interests in mind? Why would tech giants have an interest in software used in elections globally? Gee, I can't imagine why.
Many governments around the globe are racing to infuse technology into just about every aspect of its city's operations. And I mean every part.
Including public transportation, IT connectivity, water and power supply, sanitation and solid waste management, efficient urban mobility, e-governance, and citizen participation.
And it does this using every buzzword imaginable, from big data to the Internet of Things.
The Internet of Things, or IoT, is influencing our lifestyle from the way we react to the way we behave. IoT is a giant network of connected devices. These devices gather and share data about how they're used and the environment in which they are operated. Sensors are embedded in every physical device. It can be your mobile phone, electrical appliances, vehicles, barcode sensors, traffic lights, and almost everything that you come across in day-to-day life.
You see, it's not that this software is part of our elections. This software and our election is part of something else.
Our smart governance solution covers not only smart cities, but a province, a smart country, a smart county, any smart electoral government body that we actually choose to address. From a top-down perspective, we leverage tools like surveys, e-consultations, petitions. From a bottom-up perspective, we provide tools like Sitel e-democracy portal and Sitel social media monitoring.
Sitel is literally harvesting your personal social media information and metadata for elections to nudge us.
Nudge is undoubtedly one of the most successful public policy initiatives of the last decade or so.
Voluntarily or through election manipulation towards their model of global governance.
You combine that with data mining software and predictive behavior, you can figure out.
Okay, so, I mean, that kind of gives everyone an idea of what we had done during the Kentucky election time period with covering how the electronic voting machines were basically stealing the election. And that these companies can just get away with this. And that these companies were linked to foreign governments, and they were overseas. And why do we have the people counting the votes having corporations oversee? Well, I mean, Tori, why don't you continue on that a little bit? And then I wanted to take people back to what's actually happening right now with the protests and the chaos that's already starting to happen. It always seems like these things really escalate in the evening. So if you want to kind of just put an end cap note on the electronic voter fraud and Hart Intercivic, and then we'll move on to that.
Yeah, and Millie, did you get the latest, rendered video of what's going on with their, you know, uh, day one coup where they were discussing it? Do you have it?
Which one?
It's like a almost 6-minute video that we all rendered down with where we infiltrated.
Oh yeah. We put up a little tiny clip of that earlier. We did. Okay, so let's look and see what's happening here, because this is pretty crazy. What is going on?
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Guys, I just wanted to say, if we knew about this in 2019 and think we exposed the MIC that actually owns the software that helps Seidel, that helps this global conglomerate. Remember, the military-industrial complex protects the Praetorians, right? They are the Praetorians because they protect the leader. Who's the leader? These people think they know best, and they hate anyone that wants to give power to the people. So it is important to just listen to the president throughout these times and just ensure that he's got it under control. Because if me and, Millie and I were having conversations about this, he knows. And that's what's important.
Exactly.
He knew about this, and everything is going to be fine. Everything is going just according to following their plan of taking over our nation. Ergo, since we know how to stop it. This is why the Supreme Court Justice, like I said a month ago, and like I said in May, the media is going to call the president. We were having this discussion, Millie. I think it was at your place, and you were like, stop. And I was like, watch the media. Just tell who the president is. And you were like, people aren't that dumb.
And it was pretty crazy to see how Fox News just kind of turned on Trump a little bit there, right at the last moment.
I know. And the thing is, in May, I told everyone, this is what's going to happen. And you were sticking up saying people aren't that dumb. Here we are, Millie.
Well, okay, so what we're seeing actually, Tori, if you're looking at this video right now, this is in D.C. This was a little bit earlier today. But notice that this is one of their tactics. They'll do these little artistic things, like they've got masks and they're pulling wagons and they've got their signs and the way they're walking. They do their little artistic protests in the early part of the day. And then when the evening breaks out, that's when things start getting crazy. So this is actually recent footage in D.C. showing that the evening protests in D.C. are starting to gather. The crowds are getting a little bit bigger, just to get people an idea for what we can expect as the evening goes on here. Lots of media outlets out there, but they're going to be reporting that these are mostly peaceful protesters, Tori. They'll say, oh, it's mostly peaceful protesters, but there just are a couple bad apples in the mix that are ruining it for the peaceful protesters, not realizing, well, that's the whole plan, that's the tactic. They plot all this out in their Zoom chats. Look at them. Okay, so they're dancing right now. That usually tends to be the theme in the beginning. They'll dance, get rowdy. I know yesterday night we saw like lots of women twerking on vehicles. It looks like for some reason protesters are clashing with the NYPD. I have no idea why they would be protesting in New York right now. New York is as blue as it gets, but hey, protest.
Millie, I think that these people are just looking to get attention, from the world. And New York is a big city, and they want to cause chaos. And the dancing is to attract those that think that they're peacefully protesting, to throw cover for those that have the weapons.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's a tactic that they use. They even will have their own bicycle brigades. Like, notice the police will have bikes, and the police use the bikes for tactical ways to control the crowd and to block intersections. They have bikes, they have props and things that they use as well, all the same. Look, they start fires, the police have to stop and address the fire. I mean, these are things, vandalizing. These people have said in their Zoom chats that burning down buildings is a legitimate form of protest. So, I mean, why on earth are they doing this in D.C.? I mean, it's just ridiculous. These people are nuts.
Yeah, but you know they're going to do it in D.C. because we watched their Zoom chats, and they said that they're going to have certain people to start fires, certain people to do certain things. And
well, no, I mean, like, why did they do it in New York City? Because they won New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess, you know what? Duh. I'm not even thinking right. They were talking about making sure that they pressure the Republican donors as well to pressure Trump to concede. So, meaning they want the Democrat donor class to be on alert. They want to make sure that they know that if they don't make Trump step down, that there's going to be hell to pay. Because remember, they don't have that much trust with the Democrats after what happened with Bernie Sanders and how many times they've been duped and screwed over in elections. So last thing they want is the Democrats just deciding to stand down and concede. So that is why they're doing that.
Yeah, and they're doing it more because New York is the capital of the world, right? So for them, it's pretty important that they are able to get the attention of the whole world. You heard them saying, the world is watching, the world is watching. The world is watching what? You're beating up your cops. For what? You're setting fires for what? We don't like Trump. Well, you got to deal with it because if the other states do, too bad. And they're upset. They're causing unrest. Like I said they would. They would try to steal the elections and then they would cause civil unrest. Unrest as opposed to...
Sorry. That volume just came in there real loud. Yeah, I mean, you're right, Tori. They're wanting to cause civil unrest. They're basically like throwing a big temper tantrum. But as much as it appears to us like they're just spoiled brats that want to go out and vandalize and be hoodlums, everything is very methodical. They have a reason for it all. Everyone has assigned roles, whether it's high risk bad actors or peaceful protesters, medics, bike brigades, umbrella people that hold the umbrellas to block the cameras, people that are light mages that flash flashlights into police officers' eyes to blind them. They all have roles. What is this? Oh, go ahead, Tori.
I was going to say, look, the military-industrial complex screwed with our elections, right? They made sure of that. But then they are also funding and promoting and organizing and helping these underground groups. There's so many names people have never even heard, like the Palm Collective, right? And all these others. And so what they're doing is they are trying to steal the elections, right? And they're working on that end, but then they also have civil unrest, so people are worried about their safety. So they're trying to split us in two as a nation on what we're focusing and to bring attention from global leaders to say this unrest shouldn't be here. That people want to call on your life. You guys are so much.
Sorry about that. These videos just, they come in, you'd think the volume would be down, they just blast you out.
Show them.
Okay, so this is just a video, it looks like, of a Christian preacher and they're dumping trash on him. Let's see.
When the enemy just comes to still kill and destroy all the trash that people want to pour on your life. You guys are so much better than that. Don't let people pour trash on your life. Because you got art, you got skill, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter what skill, you got art and you got heart. Don't let people throw trash on, man. Because it can be white on white, it can be black on white, whatever, man. People just want to speak trash. And I said, let's just overcome that, yo. When the enemy just comes to still kill and destroy all the trash that people want to pour on your life.
Okay, so that's very interesting. They will stoop to no low. I mean, they'll stoop to the lowest of the low.
Yeah, they will. And the thing is, it's going to get really rough tomorrow, according to their plans. which is, very alarming.
I think that they've kind of, like, they're still rioting as planned, but I think that some of it is not as bad because they're still waiting for the results. They're still waiting for the results. And to them, I think a Biden outcome is the more favorable outcome. I think if it were looking like Trump was, if this were reversed, they would probably be more angry, and it would probably be worse than we're seeing right now.
The thing is, what they're trying to do is psych the population out. I mean, look at that. They're giving Biden 264. From where? From where? He doesn't have Michigan, but they gave him Michigan. He doesn't have Wisconsin, but they gave him Wisconsin.
And they're counting Arizona early when they shouldn't be. Right. It's only got 84% reporting.
Right, because they want people to see that and say it's over, and that way people resonate on a lower frequency. I mean, it's pure. Like, go to Wisconsin and look at the votes.
It's to demoralize people.
Yes, exactly. Look at the votes. Are you kidding? 20,000 votes? It's not even done. Yet they gave it to Joe Biden for 20,000 votes, and it's not done in Wisconsin.
I noticed that, look at the margin here, and they're still refusing to give it to Trump in North Carolina.
It's pure insanity, Millie. It's pure insanity. Pure insanity.
Like, Trump actually has a greater lead in North Carolina, and they're refusing to call it for him. Whereas Biden has, only a couple tiny little bit of a fraction of a percent. It's crazy.
And you can't even trust. You're looking at Google. You can't even trust those results.
I know, and that's what some people have been saying. People have been tweeting out that if you actually go to the Secretary of State's websites, that they're reporting different numbers, and that actually Trump is winning in Wisconsin. So I have seen some tweets saying that no, whatever's on Google is actually incorrect. The Secretary of State's website is what you should be looking at. Look right here. This is the most up-to-date Michigan election results right here. This was posted 35 minutes ago by Steve Dice. And it shows that Donald Trump is actually winning in Michigan. Sorry, this is Michigan. It shows that Donald Trump is actually winning in Michigan, according to the Secretary of State site. So are we supposed to trust the Secretary of State website or Google?
Yeah, no, we're supposed to go to the Secretary of State websites. The thing is, they don't think that you're going to go there. So they just put whatever they want because people are going to go to something that's easy. Because the Secretary of State, remember, to my listeners, they know I told them it's going to come down to the corrupt Secretary of States. And that's what's going on right here, right now. And that's what's insane. That it was all planned. We all knew that they were going to do this, so we know what they are doing. No one's going to look at the election results. No one's going to look at the live updates. Nothing. They do nothing of that sort. They don't.
It also showing that, the Trump camp filed suit in Georgia regarding the Sharpies.
Mm-hmm. And they're going to do that in Arizona, too.
Oh, no. Sorry, not the Sharpies. Georgia filed suit regarding, Trump has filed suit in Georgia because the Biden people have been seeking volunteers to go door to door to find voters that will help fix the mail-in ballots. I mean, ridiculous stuff like that. What I actually heard, what I was mixing it up with was that in Arizona, there was some updates on on what was going on with the Sharpie, and they had announced that there was going to be an investigation into that.
Right, Millie, the Sharpie Gate is mostly Arizona and some other places, but those people that are handing out those ballots, right, are the ones that I took a video of. They're supposedly a nonpartisan group talking about votes. So There were people parked outside of election polling, like where you were voting, not polling, like voting places, and they were handing out ballots and registering people. I took a picture of them and I sent the details of the company to the Trump campaign and to the board of electors. I mean, this is crazy that that they would do.
Exactly.
And they're still voting. That's why people stop voting.
And they were trying to say, oh, we need to wait to have the post office searched so that we can make sure there's no holdover mail-in ballots there. And James O'Keefe from Project Veritas just posted this a couple minutes ago and says that they're about to release new whistleblower allegations. It looks like this whistleblower actually worked in the post office in Michigan. So that should be interesting. They've got a couple photos. Look at ballots, please. It's got a photo right there. So this should be very interesting to see what he says. That's in 30 minutes or so. And we will be checking back in on that, making sure we're seeing whatever he releases. Oh, look. Denver, Colorado. Protests are starting there too. Let's see.
Yeah, they don't. They hate America.
They want no USA.
Yes, they want no USA. It's the UN push. It's the big UN push, man.
It's the big UN push. It's disgusting.
It is.
It is. And the fact that they rigged the election for Biden in Wisconsin is insane. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, there's one county, Rock County, that went up 11 points for the Democrats. That was completely a steal. Milwaukee County up 40. That's crazy. Dane County 40.
Look at this in California. It looks like they're emptying out a voter drop box.
All this document. Thank you guys. Are you guys official election guys? All right, and let me just ask you one thing. Where do you guys take them?
In a bag?
Is that in the government building?
And she's saying that this was after the election. So they never retrieved all these beforehand.
Thank you guys. I just want to see because they called our state so quickly. I know, I am. You don't have a mask either. Oh yeah, sorry.
Once again, using the mask as a power trip. Oh, get away from me. When he really just wants her to get away because she's looking inside, examining.
Damn, look at all those ballots.
She says, Donald Trump Jr., this happened today after the election about 3 hours ago in Reseda, California. So they should have collected these ballots before or on election day, not after. So I guess they never bothered to count those.
Putting them in backpacks, like no process, no procedure.
Yeah, just stuffing them in there.
Damn, that looks so dodgy right now.
I know.
I'm pretty sure.
Look at more poll workers in Philly wearing the Biden masks.
Yeah, I know. They were everywhere. There they are. That's what's up. They can't do that. They can't do that. That's like a big no-no. Wow. They're stealing this election? Not so fast.
America's going to have a say in it. And you know they're doing it on purpose to start a civil war. I mean, that's what they want.
That's exactly what they want. They want a civil war, and they're ushering everyone to get into that because they want a civil war, period.
Exactly.
Wow. And people are going to fall right into it. People are pissed.
I make them right, but what everybody needs to do is just chill and let the president take care of this. He got this. That's what I would say. Yeah, the audio does suck, Gavin. Bad producer. Okay, so here we are where we're you know, a day
later, and we're being told by the left-wing media that we have to sit and be nice to the poll workers because they're tired because they have to count so many. Excuse my French, but fuck that, Millie. There's one election day in a presidential election in 4 years. They're going to pull an all-nighter and they're going to get it done. They're going to get more workers and they're going to get it done. They're not going to say, well, we need a couple weeks. We still have ballots to collect. That's not how it works. And, you know, if I was the Trump campaign, I'd totally put a scope on Milwaukee County in Wisconsin. That was a steal, complete steal. So if you ask me, that's what I think. Like, what do you see them trying to pull now? Obviously, they've lost Arizona, but they're holding on to it. The president has got way more votes. I mean, he's got Pennsylvania. So even if they took Wisconsin, they can't take Michigan and they can't take Pennsylvania. So then what?
Yeah, I think that what they're banking on is they're going to try to hold down Wisconsin. They're going to try to hold down Michigan, and then they're going for Nevada.
Well, even if they take Wisconsin, let's pretend they took Wisconsin, right? That they have it. All theirs. Take it, right? They have it. President Trump...
No, I don't think we should concede on that because that's one of the closest ones out of the whole election.
Well, it's actually Michigan that's even closer. So I'm just saying, like, even if they took that, right? Even if they took that, you know, and we still have Pennsylvania and Michigan, it's over for them.
Yeah, it says that Michigan is 50.3% for Joe Biden, and Trump has 48.1%. And then Wisconsin actually has 49.6% for Joe Biden, and then 48.9% for Donald Trump. So, I mean, Wisconsin's only like 20,000 votes, whereas Michigan, it's still pretty close, but it's more. You know, they've got more of a gap there.
I don't know. I mean, he's won all of them. All of them are stolen. They're still counting ballots. I mean, this is just crazy.
That's like 100. See, this is like 120,000 of a difference around in Michigan. Whereas Wisconsin is more of like a 20,000 vote difference.
Wisconsin said that it's reporting at 100%.
But remember, you see this 120,000. Let's not forget about the mysterious random 138,000 votes that just poofed into there overnight for Joe Biden.
Right, I know. And and another thing, because it's so close, there has to be a recount. And that's going to be a problem for the people in Wisconsin. There's going to be people going to jail, Millie.
I think that we should try to force recounts in any of the states possible because it would make it the best strategy to try to find any type of voter fraud, election fraud, because at the end of the day, we want to be able to catch these people that are doing this. You know?
Well, it's only 20,000 votes, so there's definitely going to be a recount.
Yeah.
And that Trump was a really big deal, too. So this is how you get to put them in jail.
And, you know, Arizona is just trying to brush it off like, oh, the Sharpies work just fine. You know, the Sharpies are fine. They work with the machines. So right now there seems to be this whole confusion over the Sharpies being used on the ballots, whether they work or not.
If the Sharpies work, then why would they not allow them to use ballpoint pens?
Right? Shouldn't they be able to choose? Like, why were they calling the police on the people?
Right. For handing out ballpoint pens. That's the thing. So Wisconsin is great because this is how the people can see it. The count goes. There's going to be a mass round. So many people are getting arrested. It's not even funny. Not even funny. Because we've got cameras everywhere. These people have phones, cell phones, right? So let me tell you how they find the clowns that dropped off the ballots in Wisconsin, right? They look at the vicinity, they got cell towers, they can ping which phones were around which cell tower at what time, right? They've got all of them. And then when the people that were in the cell tower, in the vicinity where the ballots actually came to fruition and were found and whatever, they're all documented. You can see all their texts. You can see all their phone calls. You can see everything. You could turn the phone on remotely. Because this is about national security. This is about the future of their nation. You think that Department of Homeland and NSA, we're not, what? They're caught red-handed. We just got to let them do what they want to do and then show the world what they really did. And, you know, your phone is the biggest tracking device. You think out of all those people in that room, Millie, nobody had a phone? Ever texted someone?
Oh, I'm sure.
There's probably devastating evidence. Them telling their family, talking on the phone. Remember, there's a 72-hour sync, right? We got communications from 72 hours before.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it works both ways, right? This is where you get warrants. And we could get those warrants. Because it's a matter of national security and domestic tranquility. So we have them all. We just have to let it play out. And the thing is, the Democrats think that if they have the media telling us all these things, if they have the global media, and if they have unrest showing, oh, the people don't like President Trump, they can instigate a civil war before the results come back. That's not going to happen. That's why we haven't heard from Barr at all, Christopher Wray at all. They've been really quiet, haven't they, Millie?
So, okay, so this is kind of funny, Tori. Like, I don't know, Maricopa County in Arizona, their response to the Sharpie incident, which everyone, you know, people are calling Sharpie Gate now, is basically to say that we found Sharpie to have the fastest drying ink and best suited for our vote center tabulators. So their whole reason they say that they like used the Sharpie was because of, you know, the fast drying ink. So, and that any bleed through will not impact your vote. So they're trying to put that out right now.
And they're more expensive than regular pens, so how do they weigh the costs out to that?
Right.
I'm just saying, taxpayers, you'd be like, all right, you think Sharpies are good? Well, they're 3 times the cost of ballpoint pens. Can you justify that for us, please? Because I don't know why we paid 3-4 times the amount we would for the ballpoint pens if it's just about drying inks.
Right. A pen's ink dries really fast anyway. Like, most places use ink and they don't have any issues. So I don't understand what the issue was with not wanting to have regular pens at the voting locations.
So the question is, damn it, does anybody have any of those Sharpies? Because what if they were Sharpies that you can wash out, meaning like with a certain thing, actually lift the ink?
I don't know. That's probably, I feel like that's going a little too far for my, you know, skepticism. But I think it would just be more likely that maybe they would have known that the Sharpie wasn't going to be read by the machines, you know?
I don't know. I mean, you know, some of them, they were taken, they said, the ballot, some weren't. You know, I know you say it's far out skepticism, but these Democrats are insane. And it could be that the ink bounces off. Remember, this is like an optical reader, right? For the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, there could be, you know, a delay in the pickup, meaning like if, for example, you voted for Trump and he's the first bubble with Trump and Pence, right? And the second one was Joe Biden. There could be a delay in reading it. It would read it accidentally as Joe Biden. It could be that the sensors of the optics are skewed in a way where you may be voting for Trump, but because you're using a certain ink, it picks it up as Biden. Those are things you can actually do with density. These are all algorithms you can train a computer to do, how to read things. So they have to be able to justify to their taxpayers why they paid 3 to 4 times more than they would for ballpoint pens. Because there's got to be a justification. They can't say, oh, it's because it was faster. No, that doesn't make sense. That's waste, fraud, and abuse, right? You have to do the most thriftiest thing for your taxpayers. So I'm telling you, there was another purpose for that Sharpie, and it could just be something as you know what? I'm going to look into seeing what machine scanners Maricopa County used. That could tell us a lot. Ballot scanners.
Let's see what Mayor Giuliani's saying. I guess it's not going to the video. That's weird.
Which one?
I was trying to pull up this video here about
Further down.
Mayor Giuliani talking about the voter fraud.
It could be further down.
I guess not. Never mind then. I can't operate this site.
Rudy Giuliani had a presser in Philly with Eric Trump earlier today. He had one earlier today, and that was very interesting because, they were all there together talking about all the shenanigans that are going on. Every single shenanigan.
Seems like all kinds of craziness is happening right now.
Well, and it's going to continue, Millie, because right now they're all in. These people are all in, and they have nothing to lose. They've lost everything already, so they're all in. So the issue here is how much more further can they go? Let me see. I wanted to see if did you play that video? Hold on. Which one is it?
Here, I'm going to turn this down. Looks like there are some protests right now. This is coming from Unicorn Riot, which is kind of like the left wing's own video source. What's they're saying?
That regardless of who's elected, Biden or Trump, we've got work to do. We want to have a progressive country. We have a progressive agenda. Neither candidate represents that. And these people are definitely going to enforce the status quo.
They're enforcing the status quo. That's what they're here to do. But yeah, Tori, I mean, now what do you think about some of the chaos that's planned? I mean, do you think it's going to escalate into being uncontrollable, or do you think that the police and the authorities, because they've been tipped off to it, are going to be able to quash it?
So that's what I was going to say. We haven't seen much outrage yet because, there was reporting on the Sunrise Movement and everything they were doing. So people are, kind of sitting back. Millie, what's his name? Oh my gosh, the retired Army JAG officer, Nick Mudos, just tagged you and I earlier to that video with New York being on fire. Now, I wanted to tell you that video specifically that he tweeted out with New York being on fire that you showed, and I just remembered the significance of that, is because they were organizing nearby the safe houses for the riots that they're going to start tomorrow. So you remember how when they were talking on their Zoom chats that they're going to have like certain buildings like Facebook and businesses and houses to hide in?
Yeah. They didn't say Facebook, but they said that there were like hostels, homeless shelters, and there were residencies that they had pre-planned to be able to stay in and hide in, especially residencies if they needed to hide from the police. And see, this is a tactic of blocking a road. That's what this is right now. Right. That's their entire purpose for this.
Right. So what I was going to say is these flyers that were set up in New York were to divert attention there as we were setting up, according to their chat, their safe house. So it must be near there because they said that part of their tactic was we set a fire when we're nearby so we can have people busy there. So that way we can easily go to our safe houses. So right now there's protests everywhere.
Oh my gosh, Tori. Okay, so This is like from a leftist point of view, calling GOP challengers in Detroit, knocking on the glass windows here, demanding that the votes stop being counted. And this person here is saying that these are, you know, she says, y'all are domestic terrorists at this point. But y'all attacked Black Lives Matter for being peaceful until cops attacked them for utilizing their right to protest. Oh my gosh, what a joke here. There's a difference between just, you know, making a big noise outside, which is an actual protest, and engaging in the violence, stabbings, burning down buildings, burning police cars, chaos in the streets, and graffiti that these left-wing protesters do. The real question should actually be, why were some of these Republican poll watchers made to go outside?
That's not allowed.
They did that. They kicked them out, Tori.
And they shouldn't, and that's not allowed.
And their excuse was COVID. They said, we're at capacity.
Right, then swap some of your Democrat poll watchers.
Exactly.
That's the way it goes. You have to keep the balance there. But they didn't do it because they knew what they were doing. And the thing is, they've got Gretchen in as governor. You know, Michigan is red. It's not blue. Gretchen is blue. And Michigan fucked up putting that woman in office. I'm just saying. They really messed up. Now they can see it. Now they can see it. Before that, she looked all, yes, I'm a woman power. And look at me, I'm stern. She's not. She's evil. And so now they see it. They're not going to sit down pretty. Remember, that's Kid Rock country there, right? I wanted to tell you, did you know that the guys on the Zoom calls, you know, that are senior federal agents, federal officers? Well, here's the thing. One of them is actually a tenured professor of physics at the University of Maryland, too. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, I tweeted it out, and I tagged the University of Maryland, and I was like, hey, so, you know, do you, like, allow, you know, your professors, what was it? I said, hey, you of Maryland, is Solomon in this video your physics professor? I already know because I got his LinkedIn, so I definitely know it's him. Does your university allow radical domestic terrorists to work there? I mean, they haven't answered, but yes, he was in that Zoom call that you tweeted out where they were saying to stay away from Harry's bar in D.C. on election night, where they happened to stab the two people from the Proud Boys.
Yeah, it was 4. They stabbed 4 people. Or I don't know if they did. Sorry. Let me make sure I discern. We don't know who stabbed them, okay? But 4 people were stabbed. Okay. So
did you see the video?
Yeah, I've seen the video, but we can't say for sure that that was those people. But what we can say is this is mighty coincidental. But we're not going to say that it was any of those people because we don't know that. We do not have 100% factual evidence of that.
Okay, I want you to Millie,
yeah.
The New York Times just tweeted out, election misinformation that has emerged since Election Day includes 1, false claims of ballots being found or lost. What? That's not false. 2, false rumors of vote counts jumping in swing states. That's true. Falsehoods about Sharpie markers messing up vote counts. That is what the New York Times.
Well, you know what's funny is I had Facebook do a fact check on one of my articles last night, and they still have put the fact check on there, and it's basically my article saying that there's going to be protests, rioting that was pre-planned for DC, and they did their fact check before. Let's see if I can even get on here right now. They did their fact check before all the chaos started up in DC. So they're like, Millie Weaver. And they even put my name, they spelled it wrong, Minnie Weaver. They put Millennial Minnie.
Oh my gosh.
It said Millennial Minnie. And I'm like, wait, you're supposed to be a fact checker and you can't even like get my name right? Give me a break. You know? And they said that I was just full of it. That I was you know, just making things up. And then it was hilarious because lo and behold, exactly what I said was going to happen happened, and they still haven't removed their little fact check that they have on my channel. See it? False information. The same information was checked in another post.
What entity fact check you? See?
Yeah, I'll show you it. Let's see. Oh wait, it's supposed to show me the link right here. The fact check.
The CY.
Yeah. This leadstories.com, I guess. That's what they put. But look, they spell my name wrong.
That's Media Matters.
Yeah, Millennial Minnie. You're such a fact checker that you can spell my name right. Yeah, factual. And, you know, saying, are the Sunrise Movement, Black Lives Matter, other left-leaning organizations in the Democrat Party contemplate coordinating a coup if President Trump wins re-election? That wasn't the only contingency for their coup action. It was called a coup action, okay? And, you know, so they get that completely wrong, too, including the takeover of government buildings, which, yes, they do talk about taking over government buildings. And they also talk about doing a siege on the White House. They talk about shutting down transportation, yep, and rioting in key U.S. cities starting November 4th. And then they say, no, this is not true. Really? It's not true? Well, you know, let's see. Let's see so far. Have we seen rioting? Was there unrest yesterday in Washington, D.C.? Yes, we showed that in the live coverage I did last night. And are we now seeing on November 4th riots and giant protests starting in key U.S. cities? Yes. Are we seeing roads being blocked? Yeah, we just showed you some of that earlier. They try to say the Sunrise, an anti-Trump climate change movement, told them that its Zoom meetings were hacked. Wrong. That is actually not true. And that no one needed to hack anything. Okay. And that video was deceptively reordered to make it seem the movement was planning a hostile takeover should Trump win. Yeah, I mean, no. We put up the entire videos on sunriseexposed.com, and you can check them for yourself. Here's the full edits. We put them up there for everyone, but of course we're going to make small, condensed versions out there for people, because who in their right mind wants to sit through like 2.5 hours, 2 hours, or 1 hour and 7 minutes and 37 minutes of these people jabbering about their pronouns, and then every once in a while talking about running sieges and using their dirty tactics. If you want to learn about their dirty tactics, they're very sophisticated in it. They use like examples in Hong Kong and the Arab Spring, and they do a lot of lessons on their tactics. And when you're watching the protest footage, then everything, it's like all of a sudden you've got those glasses on, like from They Live, and you're able to fully see everything for what it is. So if you were to go to sunriseexposed.com and watch some of these videos, you can see their ArcGIS map they have for DC, where they've mapped out the locations that they want to target, the bridges they want to shut down, the roadways they want to target and shut down. They've got everything kind of mapped out. We also have all the documents, well, not all, but many of the documents that we could just get up right now. And this is a little plan for logistics for DC for November 4th, so you can look at some of that. But, I mean, this is just some of what they talk about in their guides, you know?
I want to tell you something. So a lot of people are posting in chat that President Trump is suing Michigan for a recount. Now, if you go to the Secretary of State's thing, I am sending you the direct link to it now via DM. I want you to see something. So one, President Trump is winning, so I don't know why that would happen. He's actually winning by you know, a hundred and something thousand votes. So that's number one. They're saying that only 79 of the 83 counties are reporting. Guess which one county has not reported anything yet?
Which one?
Rashida Tlaib's district.
Very interesting.
County. So that one hasn't reported crap yet, which is really, really important if you see which players are in Wayne County and who's not reporting. So it's people like, you know, Rashida, which is number one. Rashida, that's a really big deal. And then you have, well, she was reported. That's weird. That is so weird. So Brenda Lawrence won because Robert Vance lost. Tanisha Yancey, no counts yet.
I want to know how the Secretary of State's website can't be populated and updated with the most current vote counts, but yet somehow Google and all these other news companies can have privied access to vote counts that the Secretary of State doesn't even have?
Well, the Secretary of State site says that it updates every 10 minutes. And the last update was at 8:14 p.m. So that's not updated every 10 minutes, unless there's been no counting in Wayne County.
Very interesting.
So it's like all these counties haven't updated anything, which is not normal.
Yeah.
Very not normal. So it's so crazy that they're still counting ballots. Like, how is it that this year they can't count ballots, but every other freaking year they're able to count ballots? Why can't they count ballots this year? Do they not know how to do it? Like, what's the problem?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the thing. What is the problem? And my problem is Wisconsin. That's where we need to get a recount. So the state of Wisconsin says that there's 3,684,726 voters. They say that 3,684,726 votes have been tallied. There are no more votes than voters in Wisconsin, says the state of Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
Well, then the question is, if there is only a 20,000 vote difference, then that means that we need a recount, because that warrants a recount.
Definitely.
No, the side. The margin is so small.
Okay, so Tori, it looks like we've got some new video that has just been put on sunriseexposed.com of them talking about how their coup day one went exactly as planned. So yes. I've never even seen this video footage yet. It is extremely fresh.
I have, so it's really good.
Okay, so let's see. We're going to let this play, and then we'll come back and convene after this video's over.
Do we have any plans for how to respond if there's a coup?
So I'll hop in there, Kiki. Thanks so much for creating the space and to BLMDC for organizing this, because this was a really amazing training. Yeah, we have been in discussion for a couple months about how to respond to different contested election scenarios, and the first step is that we think that we need to start the post-election phase in the streets. So we're inviting people to come to BLM Plaza anytime after 4 p.m. on election night, and we're going to watch what's going on together. We'll have a bunch of go-go bands. We'll have Step Africa. We're going to have lots of different performers, and we're going to watch what's happening and respond in real time. Then for the next, the first phase after the election is we need to be ready to respond to to do whatever it takes to defend democracy. So um, on the 4th, we're inviting people to come to BLM Plaza at 1 p.m. We're going to go out and figure out who is undermining the election, stopping the voting count, making sure that disenfranchising Black folks all over the country, and we're going to go knock on their doors. On the 5th, we're going to shut down the White House. On the 6th, we're going to shut down larger parts of Washington, D.C. And then the following week, all the mainstream groups are going to come to D.C. and try to have a march on the 7th. So that's a Saturday, and we'll see how that goes. But then the following week, Congress is planning on coming to town and passing laws again and having business as usual. And we're saying if we're in a coup, there's no time for business as usual. We need to shut members of Congress that are coming in. We're going to meet them at the airports or at Union Station and send them back to where they came from until we deal with the situation that we're in. And then if we need to go to Capitol, if enough of them get in and we need to go to Capitol Hill that week, we'll do that too. And we're coordinating all this through a spokes council process, which is a directly democratic process where affinity groups are coming together to coordinate with each other.
2 questions. One is, are we waiting at all or looking at all for positive affirmation of a coup, or assuming it's happening? And then 2, we were curious about the rationale for starting at 11 on the 4th. And just, yeah.
Great. Any other clarifying questions? So I'm going to take the coup. It's already happening, Mike. Just naming that, in all seriousness, we should realize there's been enough indications of trying to stop vote counting in enough states that we actually do have enough information right now and that we don't need to wait for further behavior in order to make that determination. So just that, remind everyone that everything that has led up to this moment and how many things that they've been very intentional on and how many times Trump has said he is looking to the courts to make a decision. So just thought we would name that.
November the 3rd, meet us at the plaza at 4 o'clock. We're going to be with Shut It Down DC, Long Live Go-Go, and we're going to be down there from 4 p.m. to 12 midnight, centering Black people, right? And we're going to be back out there on the 4th, 1 o'clock. Save your energy. It's going to be popping. DC going to be popping, and we're going to defend Black lives. And, for those who into the voting, the results are going to be shown on a building down there, so you'll be able to watch the election results as they happen. So yeah, be back. We want people to come out, come to the plaza on the 3rd, 4 o'clock p.m. and stand in solidarity with us during this election day.
Yeah, Millie, go to I wanted to say before we comment on that,
Yeah.
we have to see what they did.
That was pretty crazy.
It was
Even
pretty
had
rapid
that video
too.
at the end of them jumping around on a car. This is us. Yeah, we're cool.
Yeah, well, they're all insane. Okay, they're all insane. We know that. And what they were discussing is how
they're going to push it and how they were going to wait until President Trump took it. But James O'Keefe, about 20 minutes ago, put out, a USPS whistleblower talking about.
Okay. I could not hear you.
Okay.
We're trying to mess with the audio here because we're having like echo issues. I guess some people have been saying we've been having echo issues, and he turned the volume all the way down. I'm like, I can't hear. Okay.
Okay, I was gonna say, I was saying that these people are just.
Okay, can you start from where?
Yeah, he broke a story with a USPS whistleblower just 20 minutes ago, and he aired the video where the whistleblower was told that he should be backdating any invalid ballots. If they didn't get posted.
Yes, let's go there. Let's go there because we were showing the image of that earlier that he was letting people know, but now that that's up, let's get that going.
Michigan. And you know what? I just wanted to say before you play it. Oh my God, how hilarious is it that now we know why the Secretary of State hasn't updated. President Trump filed against and got an injunction for them to stop counting the ballots. And guess what? That means Rashida's not Congresswoman.
Yeah.
Because those are the ballots, and that's like so funny. Okay, go.
All right, hold on. Let me start from the beginning. All right. Ready, go.
Tell us where you work.
I work in the Traverse City Post Office, more specifically. We issued a directive this morning to collect any ballots we find in mailboxes, collection boxes, just outgoing mail in general, separate them at the end of the day so that they could hand stamp them with the previous day's date. Today is November 4th, for clarification.
Who is your boss? What is his title?
Jonathan would be a direct supervisor, yes. As of right now, he is the opening supervisor for the Barlow Branch Post Office. So and this is anecdotal, Carrier down in another office said they watched the postmaster doing it. If it were just a typical day, it would be clerks doing it up at the distribution center.
So 8 p.m. election day, November 3rd, the Court of Appeals ruled ballots have to be received by that time. And what were you told?
To separate them today so they could mark them with yesterday's date and send them through the express system to wherever they needed to go.
This appears to be an attempt to circumvent Michigan law and allow late votes. And you said there was a hamper where letter carriers were supposed to leave their ballots. Where are the ballots now?
They were putting them into express bags to go to the distribution center. In regards to a hamper, there was a standard hamper that all letter mail was supposed to go to, and they had a tub next to it that we were supposed to let any ballots collected stay into.
Yes. What made you come forward?
That's sketchy. I don't like sketchy. It screams corruption. Also knowing the post office's leanings politically, it didn't seem quite right.
What is your message to other postal workers who see things like this?
Report it. How are we supposed to have any integrity in this country if we are just going to let things slide based on a scaling issue?
Are you afraid of retaliation against you?
I've had whistleblower policies backfire on me in the past, so yes.
We'll have to reach out to Jonathan Clark for comment. Hey, is this Jonathan?
Yes.
Hey, I'm a reporter with Project Veritas, James O'Keefe here, and I have information that you guys have been stamping ballots with the previous date, November 3rd. He just hung up. He just hung up the phone on me.
Wow. That is some bombshell information.
Right. Well, let me ask you a question. Now we're looking at Jonathan's bank accounts and any set up offshore accounts he may have, because Jonathan looks like a smug little bitch that likes money. And I guarantee you that he got paid off real well, because if they paid some random people from East Cleveland $400 to hang out for 4 hours and just look, they paid him
buku dollars, and he looks smug AF. And I'm telling you, when I said with these recounts and these lawsuits, there's going to be a lot of people going to jail, I meant it. And it's going to be the Secretary of State's too. That's why Michigan clamped, you could hear their butts puckering after the statements that were made by Giuliani and Eric Trump in Pennsylvania. You could hear buttholes puckering across the nation because they're all going to jail. And it's, you know what? It's going to be a nationwide thing. You watch. Nationwide.
Yeah, I mean, that would be justice, because these people are undermining democracy and causing a lot of chaos in the country, a lot of, you know, making people not trust in the process. How can we have a government if people don't even trust in the voting process?
Well, you know, there's a lot of reports of how this is going to be dealt with, and a lot of legal entities, you know, chiming in, saying, oh, the Supreme Court can't do anything. But, you know, he said he's going to the Supreme Court to block late arriving mail ballots in Pennsylvania, right? Because it's a commonwealth. And I've been telling my listeners, and we had that convo, we have two commonwealths and we have to see how they operate. Funny how Kentucky was the proving ground and Pennsylvania was deployment, right? So, you know, it's Wednesday evening and we still have no idea who won or what they did. But the thing is, you know, this election is going to be worse than the 2000 presidential race, where the Supreme Court ended the recount in Bush's favor against Al Gore. That was crazy. So they don't know if, you know, they're like, oh, we don't know if it counts for it. It freaking does, because we have a lot more. And you know how you know? They knew that this was going to go down, and they were doing, because, you know, that guy that was Hillary's like wing person, Obama's personal attorney and White House counsel, Robert Bauer, the one that wrote the EO that put boots on transparency that Obama signed like 10 minutes after swearing in, he's on their legal counsel, and they're ready to go head to head because they knew it was going to happen, because they already know. They're just like, yeah, we cheated. What are you going to do about it, Trump? That's what they're doing. It's like, picture kids on an opposite side of the street, and you've got the Democrats going, what are you going to do about it? The whole media is going to call you nuts. And we have, you know, the whole world on our side. Who do you have? And they underestimate the people of the United States. I'm going to tell you that, Millie. You totally underestimate them.
Oh, yeah, they totally do. They think that we're just going to roll over and take it, and people are not going to put up with it. Let's listen to this video. This guy outside in Michigan, pretty much what I believe he's doing, I haven't seen it yet, is he's calling out the whole scam.
Counting the votes, where people are just dumping in front of the polling center where they're counting the votes, where people are just dumping piles and piles of tablets on the top of the table, and a handful of people are looking through them. There's supposed to be 5 people there. There's not 5 people. Sometimes there's only 3 people. So when people are taking pictures of this, they're taking big, like, cardboard pieces of paper and holding them up so you can't see what's going on inside. It's complete chaos, but most importantly, they don't tell us how many GOP people are in there. They're only going by the register that people sign in. This morning, nobody was told to sign out when you leave. So it's
so they won't let any GOP people in because the GOP people were not told to sign out.
Exactly.
That's the scam.
This is not a fair election. This is
wow.
This is bullying. This is intimidation. This is steal the election however you can. I hope you understand.
Wow, that's key. That's key. They said they're not letting any GOP people in because the GOP people were not informed that they had to sign up in advance. And it's probably part of that COVID signing up stuff.
That they didn't sign out. So they signed in, but they didn't sign out. So they're
Are you
like,
sure? Let's listen to what he says. It sounded like he said sign up.
We're not told to sign out.
Exactly.
Sign out, okay. They were not told to sign out.
Doing. In the court of law, the paperwork says they signed in, so they were there, even though they weren't. So I hope those GOPers that are outside are taking pictures outside with people showing that they weren't there, Because, you know, this is the United States of America. People are not going to put up with this, Millie. And this is perfect. That's what's up. Our president is a freaking genius.
So
man.
on paper, this guy, you know, or the poll watchers are inside on paper, according to paper. So everything's good on paper. But in actuality, they're outside because they were told to leave and they were made to leave by the police, as we saw in earlier videos. This is just insane. I need to watch this again because this is just, he's kind of unloading a bunch of information in this video.
In front of the polling center where they're counting the votes, where people are just dumping piles and piles of tablets on the top of the table, and a handful of people are looking through them. There's supposed to be 5 people.
So, just dumping tablets on the table and then a handful of people looking through them?
There's not 5 people. Sometimes there's only 3 people. So when people
There's not 5 people. Sometimes there's only 3 people. What does that mean, Tori? Is there like a mandatory where if there has to be 5 people?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, because I had to point out, if you're feeding the ballots, there has to be 1 Republican, Republican, 1 registered Democrat, and 1 registered non-denominational. That's how they had it in Ohio. So for there, they probably had a 2 and 1. And that's the thing. How do you know they didn't register Republican, but they're really Democrat?
Exactly, right? They could always do that. Let's continue.
taking pictures of this, they're taking big cardboard pieces of paper and holding them up so you can't see what's going on inside. It's complete chaos, but most importantly, they don't tell us how many GOP people are in there. They're only going by the register that people sign in this morning. Nobody was told to sign out when you leave.
Oh, so they're only going by the paper, and they're saying, oh, there's 2. So that's what they said. Oh, we're at capacity. Oh, we have enough GOP people in here, but they didn't tell anyone to sign out when they left. So on paper, they still have enough people in there, but they don't actually have the right numbers. They don't actually have enough GOP people in there. Wow, so dirty.
Rico Suave, I'm telling you, so many people are going to jail. It's not even funny. And I'm going to tell you, when this plan, sit back, we got this orchestrated. It was like, well, how can you attack all facets? That they try to use within the bounds and seal the elections. That they use the USPS, to their advantage, and how they're using the court system. How are you going to showcase all that? We got it all now. We got the postal service, the backdating, the fake ballots. Then we have them trying to use the system against the people, like complete legal. This is like
so corrupt. And one of the things I will say is look at the. You can always tell that this is just a random citizen because oftentimes people will just hold their phone upward when they're filming instead of holding it sideways. Like it looks like the guys behind her holding it sideways. But this looks like it was filmed by just an average American. The mainstream media, look at this professional camera here. Is it even pointed? I mean, it looks like it is. Oh, he puts it away. He turns it away halfway through. So look, he's on the guy, and then he turns it away. He probably turns it off. Now these are not just random people saying these things. It looks like this guy might have had some inside information. For all we know, he's a poll watcher, but see, we can't say for sure because we don't know. So if you're actually ever in a situation out there where you're documenting things and trying to engage in citizen journalism, just a nice little tip. You could say who you are, so people know where the original source of the content came from, just so that we could find where that came from, right? To see if there's more coming from that source. But also, make sure you ask, like a good thing to ask this guy would have been, what is your name? Who are you? Are you a poll watcher? Like, just to find out, because then it's like we have this great witness testimony from this man, but we just don't know who he is. We don't know.
Yeah, and it's really good that he gave that testimony. That's really good. Oh wow! Someone just oh yeah, we saw them. Those ballots that were being collected. It's not California. It was in Arizona. The one with the bags. It was Arizona. Not California.
Okay. Well, like the tweet said California.
Yeah, someone just tweeted it out as Arizona. So that's insane. Wow. So President Trump filed a lawsuit in Georgia, contesting, how Georgia was doing things. Tucker actually interviewed Jenna Ellis. Let me DM that to you.
Oh, I'm actually looking at it right now.
Yeah, the Tucker one.
Yeah, and the media is doing a hit piece on him saying that he's pushing fake